very warm welcome to you and thank you so much for joining on this special program brought to you by Shelter Incorporated, where we focus on a whole host of things to do with development of land and of course one's future investments in a property. Today I'm thoroughly excited to have a guest join us in studio. I'm joined by Mr. George Munengwa, who is the founder and CEO of Pro Air Zimbabwe, and a company that specializes in air conditioning and ventilation systems. Now George is well known as an entrepreneur and businessman in Zimbabwe, and also Pro Air has become a leading brand in the country's HVAC industry. Now also under his leadership, he has expanded its services including installation, maintenance and repair, air conditioning and ventilation systems for residential along with commercial and industrial clients. Now George's success story is often cited as inspirational to young entrepreneurs and business leaders in Zimbabwe, and also not forgetting to mention that he's a multi-award winning entrepreneur that I guess speaks to his serial acumen of business. George, top times, my guy.
Hey, for it's always good to be invited to such platforms.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of shows and very insightful.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched the other shows, I encourage people wherever they are to watch, because knowledge is power.
Most definitely.
And I love what you guys are doing here, because you're empowering us, you're educating us, and we're getting to know a little this, that, which we didn't know.
That's it.
So it's amazing to have different speakers on the platform. I was actually following and watching some of the programs here. And hey, now I'm on the show.
Now you're on the show.
Yeah.
That's it. Glad to have you, George. And of course, I'm appreciating a lot of the work that you've been doing within the air conditioning space. We also just felt it important to have some of your insights, rather, into how the business acumen operates within the real estate, within the construction and developing space, but also just to hear a bit more personally from you.
Yeah, I think, it's great. I think what we're seeing in Zimbabwe, a lot of people still have disbelief in the growth and the construction and the investments that's coming into the country. So many people in the diaspora are looking at buying great affordable land. And when we say affordable, Africa was blessed with one thing, and that's land. To those who stay in the diaspora, trust you me, they will tell you that 1,000 square meters is a lot of land compared to where they are, because where they are, things are, really squashed up. So, it's always good to invest back. There's great weather. There's, we're a third world country, but, we're growing to where we want to be. So it's always a good place to invest. Because I say real estate to anybody who grew up, I grew up in Glenora.
Right.
My parents managed to buy a house in Glenora, which we grew up in. And to anybody who wants to become anything in life, it's important to secure a home.
Right.
That's the basic, need for every human being. Sure. Not to rent a home forever, but to actually own your own piece of land. So you'll find in Zimbabwe, I see with Shelter, there's amazing stands for sale, affordable, so much, terms available. And it's important, even as an entrepreneur, it's always important to look at investing in something that safeguards the family and yourself.
You know what else is important, George? It's also important to be able to appreciate a sentiment that you brought up about us being in Zimbabwe. The weather.
Yeah.
Right. I think if we could take it back to when the pioneer column of Yana Cecil Ron Rhodes came here, I think he came here because he couldn't breathe well.
True.
In the global north. So he came here because the weather was perfect for his conditions. And another moniker of yours is making the weather behave.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us a bit about how that ties into a lot of what is going on with regards to interiors.
So, with homes now, gone are the days where people put a fireplace, gone are the days where you put the ceiling fans, and now because of the climate change. So climate change is a sentiment that a lot of people hear, but they don't understand what it means.
Sure.
So climate change just means that there's a change in the climate that we grew up knowing because of the pollution and so many other factors that have affected the ozone layer. Geography, time the ozone layer, and now the ozone layer is being damaged. It's causing a lot of heat to come onto the earth, causing the ice to melt. A lot of things are changing. So because of that, there are a lot more hotter summers. And if you look now statistically, temperatures are increasing 2 to 3 degrees every year.
Cheapest.
So we're getting hotter and colder, summers and winters. So you'll find in the home, in order for you to be cool, to be comfortable, to be warm, whether it's your home, your office, wherever you are, air conditioning once upon a time called a luxury. Because, it was not as affordable to the majority of people. But now it's become a necessity and an important part of, the performance of a workforce, the comfort of your home, in hospitals, computers needed, every supermarket needs refrigeration, all that stuff. So because of that, it's now become a necessity. So when you go around now, if you look like here in Zim, a lot of, property developments are going. So that a lot of people have done away with the fireplace and incorporated split units, under ceiling cassettes, ducted systems, all that to incorporate a modern look in the house.
So would it be fair to say those are the current trends that you're seeing with regards to air conditioning in homes and commercial spaces?
Definitely. In first world countries, it's a must. There's no way you can stay in a house without air conditioning.
Sure.
I think the hottest place here in Zimbabwe is Victoria Falls. We're pretty busy there because temperatures are, 40s plus. So you really cannot stay in a hotel or in a home without. And we're also beginning to see it's mandatory now for shops to have ventilation, to have, decent air in the banking halls, wherever you go to the hospitals. It's a necessity now that we need clean air, we need a cool place to work, to operate our machinery and so forth. So before, like I said, it was called a luxury. Now, because things have changed, it's a necessity, and more so for homes. Trust you me, there are people putting movie houses in their homes, and once you close the door, there's no ventilation. You're gonna need to keep cool during that time. You're in your lounge. You don't want to necessarily put a fire and whatever.
When you brought that point up, it kind of got me considering how literally making the weather behave, you had not considered that you don't need a fireplace. True. In actual fact, you can warm up the whole room and you're good to go.
Just with the touch of a button. And amazingly so, back then people have the misconception that an aircon consumes a lot of power.
Right.
So the modern aircons now that we have and are currently installing come with a 5-year warranty and are energy efficient. So these can run with your solars. These run at 50 to 60% less power than the older generation aircons. So also the convenience. You get home, some of them now are so smart. Before you get home, on your phone, you can put your aircon on, and remotely you'll get into your room or wherever you are and things are going. So, technology is good, and, air conditioning is something that we're not going to, it's something that we need definitely.
Right.
You cannot live without it. Wherever you go, whether it's your car, you got in contact with air conditioning some way, somehow, on your way home or going back. Everywhere you go, it's a necessity. So more so in homes and the modern homes now, people are putting a key eye to making sure that even before they start putting their ceilings, there are many projects we go to before ceiling stage to make sure that it's incorporated so that we don't chisel the buildings and it's way incorporated into the building before. A lot of people before didn't plan for air conditioning and then they only see it at a later stage. But now when it's still in construction phase, we identify where we're going to put the types of units and we come in to make the house look flawless. People don't like cables and stuff all over the place. So everything is hidden, it's smart. And with Pro Air, it's always done right the very first time.
I look forward to speaking a lot more on that there, but George, that's all the time that we have for this segment, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to hearing a lot more from you in terms of how the HVAC space has been working, but also just your insights in all things to do with real estate.
Awesome.
Well, that's all the time that we had. Please feel free to take advantage of our social media platforms. Keep sending us your questions and your comments and your contributions. For now, pleasant view.